Hey, my name's Loney, and I struggled with alcohol and drugs. So in my early 20s, I had my son. I was 21 years old, and when he was born, money started to influence everything I did. And with the money influencing, it influenced my lifestyle, my friends. Quickly, I pushed myself away from my family. Wasn't around much for my son. And during that time, I continued to use drugs and alcohol. My dad had an orphanage in Guatemala that he was a part of, and he asked to send me out there to see if I'd like to check it out with him. And when I reached the orphanage and met the kids out there, I quickly fell in love with all of them. Without realizing, my dad had asked for my passport, gave me a hug, and the next thing I knew, he was headed back to Vancouver, and I was left behind for the next 3 months. It was definitely a struggle at first. I'd been on quite the bender before I'd left, gone cold turkey, and spent 2 weeks basically in a concrete cellar trying to sober up. I started to look deeper into my own life and think about my own son. Now it was back home. A lot of these kids don't have parents. They either sold them into the sex trade or for money or whatever their cause was, but yet I had an opportunity to be a father. I expected all these amazing things that had been happening in Guatemala that would continue to follow me back home, and before I knew it, I had fallen probably even deeper than what I had been in the past. The money, the drugs, the women, trafficking. I thought that I was past all that. It was about 2 years ago, my son asked to be baptized. And I was definitely blown away by him asking, because I hadn't been saying much about Christ or shared much about anything. But I know my parents had, my family had always been, they were the ones that helped raise him. They were the ones that continued to share in his life. It was tough to actually watch my son be baptized, because it was putting a lot more pressure on me and questioning everything that I was doing. I was so far away from the Lord again, and I felt that I couldn't be forgiven again for all these. I've been forgiven once, and He's not going to forgive me again. And so I just always would try to use drugs and alcohol to numb the pain, numb the thoughts, any of the ideas that Christ could forgive me for my sins. So many years of living a certain life and serving Christ and not serving Christ, back and forth, back and forth. Every time I thought it was good, I fell. Every time I thought I had it all figured out, I fell. And my biggest fear was, is this just going to be another time where I fall? Is this going to be another time where I disappoint my family, I disappoint my son? But someone reminded me, they asked me, they said, "Sean, has your dad ever once asked you about any of the wrongs you've done in your life? Has he ever questioned anything you've done out of all the stuff you did?" And I said, "No, he's never even once asked, he's just always accepted me." And he said, "So why do you think that your Heavenly Father wouldn't treat you any better?" There's been so many times that I probably should have died. The times where I thought about taking my own life, it was my son that kept me from doing that. There were so many times that I questioned why God even gave me a son, but yet he was the one that saved my life. Do I believe in my heart that I've been forgiven for the wrongs that I've done? Do I believe in my heart that, God has already written his plan for me? And now I finally do. I'm not worried about my mess ups. I know I'm gonna mess up. I know I'm gonna have struggles. I know there's gonna be slip ups and whatever they are. It's such an amazing thing that he loves me regardless, that his love is endless. And there's nothing that I can do that he would ever look away from me. That just gives me everything for me to push forward and live life and live it to the fullest, and knowing that that Christ has got my back, that this is doable. There's nothing that is out of his reach, and with him, all this is possible.